En los minutos 2 y 4 en el 28 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐤 habían cortado el saque de la falta, el cabezazo y el gol. Gerard elevándose por encima del defensa. Testarazo ajustadísimo. Segundo es Gerard.
Valencia start to get going a wee bit, but they have been beaten in that group stage. It's kind of to and fro. Lazio, as we've talked about, looking absolutely sexy. And within 4 minutes at the Mestalla, it's 2-0 to Valencia. It ends up 5-2, and the game is done. I think it's important to impress on people. You know, I was there that season for the Rangers game. It's loud. And Spain used it a lot, I think.
If they had a crucial tie, if Spain ever had a game, they have to win. They took it there.
And this, Adam, this is not out of nowhere, but that result is certainly out of the box. I mean, you're not getting many bets on 5-2, and that start. But I mean, it's teams that are able just to be so explosive.
Yeah, 100%. 2 goals in the first 5 minutes. It's funny, I hadn't really thought about it until you mentioned about the view at the Mestalla, but even the camera is miles away when you watch the highlights back, and it just sums up what we've been saying, the amount of goals in here. And I guess it sort of sums up what I'd mentioned as well. Yes, Angulo scores one, but it's Gerard who gets the 3 goals, who was a player I quite liked, and I was quite excited when he went to Barcelona. I think he was there for a while, but didn't really quite go to plan. But maybe a little bit surprising that he's the one that gets the goals. Like I said, I was very much cheering Lazio on here, so I was pretty gutted when the goals started raining in. Yeah, and okay, Lazio win the return leg 1-0, but I mean the damage was done in
it's never it's never likely that second leg. I felt vindicated because I had swithered a little bit. As you say, Martin, they're losing the group. They're good and they get through, but I was like, maybe I overrated them slightly. And then they did this, and I was like, no, I didn't. I was right. So well done, me. Yay. Go back and watch this, folks. Please just do yourself a favour with sound. Turn it up. It's completely bananas. The place just, they get the early goal, and then madness descends to what I was talking about earlier about hysteria. And Lazio are full of world-class players, incidentally, and they're all looking around at each other. What's happening here? Because this is just madness, and they get utterly swamped. Second leg, Valencia play it properly. They go out there and they're not defending the lead, but nor are they they're not charging forward, Martin, in the last minute.
No.
Yeah, I think this is the thing about this Valencia team. Maybe it's a good time to sort of feed a little bit of it in, because I guess there's a tendency for us to, I guess we all did dismiss Valencia pre us playing them, but there's maybe a tendency to expect that some teams are going to come in and sort of be naive or a little bit young in terms of experience and in terms of initial age, but they're it's not the case. I mean, you look at the team that they had and the players that they had, and there's a lot of experience. In there, you've got 𝐾𝐨𝐧'𝐿 in goal, Pellegrino, Angloma was
well-travelled,
mid-30s at this point, early 30s at this point.
Champions League winner,
of course. So they were very, very tight defensively. And this midfield diamond that I know, Martin, you were a huge fan of, it's really, really solid. The season after is Ruben Baraja comes in and he replaces Farinos, and they go up a little bit, I think, in terms of how well they keep the ball. But the solid four in the middle of 𝐃𝐨𝐵, Mendieta, Gerard and Farinos and this season is really, really interesting. It's probably more interesting as well because you've got 𝐃𝐨𝐵, who in my head I just always think of as AML from Football Manager. He's not going to play anywhere else, but here he is playing as a left-sided central midfielder, I guess, with a license to roam. So it's just really interesting, but they're absolutely no mugs. 𝐾𝐵 has them well drilled, very defensively sure. So going 2 or 3 goals up against most teams, you would fancy them certainly to see it out quite comfortably like they did.
Mendieta for this 2-year spell is the best player in Europe, and so much so that Lazio, who, as we mentioned, are spending money like water, they must have him. And they eventually end up getting him, and he never replicates this form.
I never felt good about that signing at all. Loved them so much, but it just didn't.
That night, no, it didn't fit. It's that night though that Lazio were like, we must have him. After that 5-2, and there is a legitimate argument. He was the best player, I was going to say in Europe, in the world for 2 seasons. He was a complete midfielder. I mean, he could do everything, right? He scored goals, he could tackle, he could pass, he was good in the air. His ability to dictate play was superb. And it never quite happens anywhere else, to the point where you're kind of, you're wondering if he did see it, but it did extraordinary. I mean, Lazio ended up paying, I think, 32 million for which at the time was,
well, 2001, I think. Anyway,
the only thing I would say, sorry, Martin, the only thing I would say, just to finish off in Lazio's defence, if you can't even defend them, I'm not sure if, again, this balance between Serie A and the Champions League, or injuries or anything like that, I'm not sure, or rotating players, but the lineup in the Mestalla is not as illustrious as the players that we've spoken about. I mean, you've still got Simeone, Nedved, Stankovic, and Varane, but Simone Inzaghi's there, Matis Almeida, who was good but not great. But Salas is on the bench, Boxic's on the bench, 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐿's on the bench, Sensini's on the bench. There's many other players that we've mentioned. There's no Nesta, there's no Mihailovic. So I don't quite know, without going back and looking again, I don't
mentions and injuries there, Adam, but
quite know what was going on. But yeah,
I think Sven, he's no idiot. I think he knows that it's probably not doable, and winning the title would be the most stick on.